everybody, long time no talk. As some of you know, I have been deep in the MCAT trenches for months and months now, what has felt like, if we talk about the entire amount of time that I've been studying for this exam, like from the beginning and all the breaks up until now, it's been close to a year, like I'd say over 6 months, definitely. Since I did start studying last year, technically. Today is Thursday, March 5th, 2026. So by the time I post this video, I will be about 2 weeks away from my test date. I have been feeling an immense amount of stress. It has not been easy at all. Not that I thought that it would be, but the amount of impending doom that I have been feeling in the last couple months has been overwhelming, to say the least. So I just wanted to talk here and kind of reflect on how I'm feeling and just a little bit of everything that's been going on. I'm actually in the middle of a study session right now. Just finished one of my cards passages. I did take another practice exam earlier this week, I believe on Tuesday, so I'm reviewing that as well. Been very thoroughly reviewing my practice exams lately. Right now I'm feeling overwhelmed for the most part. I'm feeling a little numb. I've been easier on myself than the past, I don't know, however many months. I think I've been way nicer to myself because I've just been so burnt out through this entire process. I've tried to kind of restructure my brain and my attitude towards studying to where it's enjoyable again, because to be honest, I haven't felt like it. And that's to be expected when you're doing anything for the amount of time that I had been doing it. It's, the fun is going to kind of be taken out of it. You're kind of going to end up at that point where you're just like, I want to be done. And I didn't want to have that attitude. So I've been trying to restructure and reframe my state of mind when I go into studying this and just kind of treating it more so like a game or a puzzle that I'm putting together, like, trying to understand what concepts relate, why, all of that sort of thing. Three things that I learned during this entire process. So for one, I'll go back to kind of the statement, or kind of what I was talking about in my original video I made, when I was talking about 5 things that I wish I knew. The number one thing that I learned is that, or just kind of confirmed, is that there's no specific way to review for this exam. However, there are a lot of better ways, for lack of another term. A lot of people on the internet and things will try to emphasize the content review portion without really saying like what exactly that is and what that means and how it's different for everybody. Content review for one person is not going to look the same for another person, and it has a lot to do with your specific learning style. It has to do with how you retain information. So I really want to emphasize for anyone else who's watching who is just lost or doesn't really know where to start, to take that diagnostic for sure. Taking that first practice exam will kind of show you where you are in terms of what you need to review, like what subjects and concepts that you have down, like what things you maybe don't need to revisit as much. But practice questions is really the best, most concise way to put everything together, and at the same time to really learn how the double AMC tests, what types of questions they ask, like how they try to trick you on the answer choices, just things like that. Like, it really puts things in a perspective and gets you more acclimated to what this beast of a test really is and how exactly you're being tested. Because for most of us, like coming out of undergrad, or some of us go to grad school programs, these exams, or like this exam in particular, is going to be very different from the exams that we saw in college. And that was something that was a learning curve for me that I had to kind of figure out as I went. um, there's a lot of things hidden in the exam. There's definitely a hidden curriculum there of things that are meant to kind of trip you up, that if you do practice questions, you'll kind of be on the alert for, and you know what to look for. Another thing, I think I've learned how to review my mistakes a lot better. Before, I would just kind of go in and look at things that I maybe got wrong or right, and then it's just sort of that passive, like, oh, okay, I get it, I understand, without really going into depth and detail. And that's the part that most of us don't really feel like doing. Like, you sit here hours on hours and you're reviewing so much information, and it's just so tiring. Like, I know, because I've done it. I've been at this for maybe 8 months now, like way longer than I probably should have. But you get to a point where you're just like, you tell yourself, oh, I understand that, but you don't really get it. You aren't, at that point where you're able to explain it to someone else. So it's not reinforced in your mind. It's kind of more of a once over. And passive studying just does not work for this exam at all. There's nothing, I would say, apart from psych-soc terms, which even those, I feel like I've had to relate them to things in my own personal life so that I would remember, because there's so many psych-soc terms that are just incredibly similar. So even that, like, you can memorize the terms on a surface level and still not really get those questions right, because you didn't go into depth in figuring out what exactly the terms meant on a deeper level. I think I've learned a lot about myself during this process, and if I had to go back and change it, there would be a couple things that I would change. I would review differently a lot earlier on. I would just not be so hard on myself. I think I contributed a little bit to my own burnout, just expecting so much of myself early on. I do work full-time as an EMT, and that's a very stressful, like mentally stressful, physically stressful type of job. And to put the added stress of studying for X amount of hours a day on myself after that, after working 12 hour plus shifts, that wasn't really fair to me at all. And I think I could have found a more efficient way to make my days off really count, so that I wasn't as burned out as I have been. I've been praying a lot, and prayer is the only reason that I have released as much of my anxiety as I have surrounding this exam and everything that it means for me. I'm a non-traditional applicant. I have years and years of experience in healthcare. I believe that my application is well deserving of a spot in a medical school. However, my academics and my strategies and just learning techniques and things like that can use work, but that's what this is all about. Like, there's no learning without growth, and everybody should have some capacity for growth if you want to learn anything. And medicine is one of those things that is ever changing, ever growing. Like, there's always going to be something new to learn, and I feel like this time in my journey was very needed for me to be reflective of that, and to go into the next chapter which would be medical school, not feeling defeated because I couldn't figure something out, or, you know, understanding that I needed to make a pivot. Um, so making peace with that now, I think is very, it's going to be great when I do, you know, eventually, God willing, make it into medical school. So for everybody else who is applying this cycle, I wish you nothing but luck, and please be kind to yourselves. Like we've heard so many times before, this is a marathon, and we're going to face so much continued adversity from here on. Like, it's not going to get any easier. And we're going to have to figure out a way to come on top over challenges. Like, we're just going to have to continue to adapt. The further that we get into this, it's more adapting. And just remember to be kind to yourselves. Remember to treat yourself or your situation like you would, you know, somebody else bringing that to you. And I know it sounds easier said than done. It's incredibly easier said than done, but just try, you know, try to make that effort to be as kind to yourself as possible, because you deserve it. You're going through so much, and you don't even realize how incredible you actually are for making it to this point where you're able to sit for an 8-hour exam that most people would not even attempt, you know. So that's my spiel. I'm gonna actually get back to studying. Even though I don't really feel like it, it is a very rainy and dreary day. I would love nothing more than a nap right now. But I'm gonna eat a little ice cream, you know, have a little treat for myself. This looks like Rocky Road. Is this Rocky Road? Why is there marshmallow in it? Is that marshmallow? Anyway, I'm gonna have some ice cream and I'm gonna get back to studying. There may be a week out update video. Not sure yet. We'll see how I'm feeling. But for everybody watching, good luck and wish me luck. Thanks. Bye.